And in fact, it's extremely detrimental to someone way over here in the freeze spectrum. So I just want to chat about that for a minute because I'm a living example of using meditation. Now, I've been meditating since I was 12. I'm 55, so that's 40 plus years of a fanatical meditation practice. Studied with monks, the whole dive. I used it unknowingly to compound my maladaptive freeze response. Here's how. When you are embodied and aroused as your stress response, all the way over into like aggression and anger and rage, your nervous system is in like a sympathetic state of agitation. It's excitation. So a calm down approach makes perfect sense. That's when you would reach for all of your meditation apps, your meditation practice, your let it go practice, because that is going to just put the brakes on the gas and you're too gassed at that point. When you are in a shutdown response, think physiologically for a minute. Your heart rate is decelerated. Your oxygenation in the brain is compromised. Your gut is not working. You are going in a very, very depressed situation in terms of metabolic output, oxygen use. So the last thing you want to do is calm down because your body is already going in the mechanical direction of that. Emotionally, maybe not. Your anxiety might be high, but your body's going into shutdown. So for you in shutdown to get back to a state of balance between focused arousal and calm, you have to come backwards. You have to take your foot off the brake and put it on the gas, just enough. And that is the opposite of calm down meditation. I was taught TM. I was trained in Ascension, which is a version of TM, and I kept trying to calm down, having no idea that my bradycardia, my super low blood pressure, my oxygen-deprived brain was getting worse. So what I discovered, when you are in freeze, it is not about calming down. Put those meditation apps aside and do an embodiment practice, which is going to be anything physical, and we can chat about those in a little bit, and or a neuroplasticity meditation practice, which is absolutely not designed to calm you down as the main goal. It is designed to recruit just enough arousal attention so you can direct it towards homeostasis. So there's a big difference between neuroplasticity meditations, of which there are very few, if not, I might be the only one who has an actual neuroplasticity meditation protocol. There's lots of bodies of education, great ones, but I don't know of any other official meditation protocols that are purely neuroplasticity governed. But it was a game changer for my body. And I realized that I had to use traditional relaxation meditation as a tool for the right circumstances. And often I was not in that circumstance.
When I heard you give that description at Summit, one of the things that occurred to me, and I'm just going to go off on a slight tangent, but then we'll come back, was that when it comes to focus, because the original product, Qualia Mind, was very lasered on let's help people get focused better. And our mindset was, okay, well, what's preventing people from being focused? And on the one hand, you had people that were under aroused that needed some degree of stimulation to get there, right? So that's them. And other, it was almost a brain that was too much going on, right? Like say frantic, more like going on internally, and that they need to be then moved back from the other direction. And that Qualia Mind's goal was somewhat ambitious, but no matter where you are, either through adaptogens or things like calm energy, things like a caffeine theanine stack, let's try to bring anyone back towards that homeostasis point. And it was one of the reasons why when I heard you share this, I'm like, oh, she is brilliant. This is like so important. More people need to hear this.
You have to dial into the Goldilocks spot of focused attention. And like you said, well, first of all, I love that the qualia approach is to the adaptogen approach, which is give you what you need in the moment to get where you are in that Goldilocks spot. And sometimes that means dialing down and sometimes that means dialing up. But the way I like to think about it is, you know, for us old school people who had radios with dials in our cars, right? You had to turn the dial and scroll through static to find the station. And then you would find the periphery of the station and it would come through, but it would be staticky. And then you'd land right in the middle. And that was the sweet spot of reception. When I think about the Goldilocks spot of focused attention, it is that sweet spot where it is not hypervigilant focus and it is not so diffuse that I drift off into other brain states where I'm just in pure receptivity. It is that spot where that harmony of like learning neurotransmitters, where dopamine is just enough to minimize the distractions, norepinephrine is just enough to lock you onto a target, acetylcholine is just enough to cause you to value this and remember it. And that sweet spot puts you in a heightened state of neuroplasticity that feels to me, from my personal experience, neither too aroused nor so drifting off into observation witness mode that I don't feel my body anymore.